Hey guys, Analman here for another late night deck profile, and as you can see from the title, we're looking at a very new deck, and specifically one that my friend Isaac actually used to win. I managed to build the deck specifically based on what he showed me, and I actually talked to him about very specific techs, why he's playing certain cards at a lower rate, or why he's running specific cards. And they're pretty. It's actually pretty crazy because he won first place using it. He took on, let's see, round one. I do believe he did play a red green Xeon Rush deck. From what I heard, the red green deck essentially kind of bricked. They did manage to like aggro really fast early on, but I think after that they kind of lost basically their gas essentially. Like they couldn't aggro anymore, and at that point I think he was already controlling the board, because he does run a lot of AP minusing cards that specifically activate during the action step, so that actually can hurt them. And the fact that the main boss of this deck isn't actually the level sevens or the unicorn. It's specifically the level 4, the Gundam Ferrect. I still can't pronounce that name. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. Basically, we focus on academy specific cards, so mostly white cards, and they specifically do a lot of minus AP. And of course, with Silette, you can always set up a resource specifically to trigger unforeseen consequences, which is a really insane card, especially because it can be triggered during the action step, which will also trigger the boss's once per turn action effect, which is to basically heal itself, as long as there's a unit with 1 HP, which is really crazy. Like, I watched him essentially, like, every time I've ever actually played against him, I'm always scared of him having one resource, because I'm like, does he have it? Does he have the command card in his hand? Because if so, my guy's going down by -3. Like, it's already really weird. So it's like, I'm like, I have to like figure out a way to get past it every time. But yeah, let's actually get into the deck profile so I can actually show you what I mean with certain cards. So for level 1s, we don't run any. So we're just skipping to level 2. We're running the 2 Zowarts because it's still a pretty solid blocker. But what he has told me is that the Zowart is good, but it's not like the best, because most of the time the Elfrith will basically do the same exact thing, but better. And the fact that the Elfrith can also swing into the shields or the base, versus this one where it specifically says this unit can't choose the enemy player as the target. So once you clear their base, you basically can't really use this to swing for game, which kind of sucks, honestly. Like, in retrospect, it's actually why he runs a very specific level 4 that chips damage instead, because that at least gives extra aggro, especially late game and mid game. Then, as I mentioned, we are running the, for level 3s, we're running the 4 Elfers, because this is basically the superior blocker over the Zowart, because of the fact that it has better HP. The attack's not great, it's 1 less than the Zowart, but the fact that its defense is so good is really crucial sometimes, especially after you boost it with a Soulette. With that, it becomes a 6/3, which is insane, because that is like the HP is bordering on like a level 6's like HP, so it's really strong. And honestly, after playing or just like the first locals that we had here, I honestly am inclined to agree with him with this one, because Alfred actually saved me a lot in testing with Meteor Control and just like all the other decks that I can run white in. This Gundam has come in clutch a lot, because especially if you start turn 1 or turn 2 with it, you basically have a solid blocker that can take like 2 hits from specifically like red green aggression. So you can take like 2 hits and then it'll go down, and if you draw into another one, you can just keep doing it, which is really strong. But yeah, we run the 4 copies. Then for the last level 3, we run the Michaelis. So I was actually kind of on the fence on this card originally for my blue-white like control deck, the one that I posted before. Like, this card, I saw some people playing it, and I thought this card's really cool, because since you're running so many command cards anyway, this actually triggers really easily, especially if they chip or you already used up all 4 of your show resolves or all 4 of your was it overflowing affection. So this gets a really sick boost. So basically, while there are 4 or more command cards in your trash, this unit gets AP +1 and HP +1. So if you equip anything with an academy trait, it's already getting a link, so it's already getting boosted. But with that extra, it can swing over a lot of things. Like I've seen this thing go up to like 6, so it's pretty insane that it can do that. And the fact that it also boosts not only the attack, but it also boosts the HP, because not that many units do that. Most of the time when they're boosting AP, or most of the time when they're boosting stats specifically, they only buff AP, but this buffs both, which is really strong because that means it can tank a few hits, especially against really big units. But yeah, that's all for the level 3s. For level 4s, we run 2 of the Anksa. This was the card I was mentioning before that that my friend Isaac basically made way for with Zowert. This card is actually pretty crucial because he mentioned that a lot of times you're already chipping enough damage into, especially their big bodies, and usually they're left at like maybe 1 health, or like small units are left at 1 health from something else. So this actually helps basically chip them out, especially if they're rested. This one specifically targets a rested enemy unit, so that means that after they've traded damage and they're still alive somehow, this can basically aggro and just get rid of it, which is really cool. And I'm honestly inclined to agree because I did make the red-blue new type ping deck, and this card is really insane in that because especially against aggro decks, it punishes your opponent for being aggressive, which I really like, and running 2 of this in the deck makes a lot of sense. So I'm inclined to agree that this is a really good tech, honestly, after discussing it with my friend. But yeah, after that we go for level 4s. As I mentioned, his main boss isn't really the level 6, it's the level 4 3 cost Gundam Ferric. This thing is really insane. It looks unassuming, but it's actually really insane. The fact that it can heal itself with the pilot equipped is really annoying because most of the time it's going to trigger during the action step, and it's both opponents' turns. So that means when you're swinging, and this already has 1 damage, it's going to heal itself. Sure, repair basically does the same exact thing, but the fact that it can heal on your opponent's turn can come up in certain instances, so I totally agree with why it's so good. But yeah, for anybody that doesn't know what this card does, it has a during link and attack effect where choose 1 enemy unit, it gets minus AP during this battle. So with this, you can basically hit over a lot of stuff, especially with the bases that grant, there is a base for Academy that grants +1, so it's already boosting this to 4, but with a pilot, it's already going up to 5 or 6, so it's already really chunky. And the fact that Select gives it +2 to its defense already means that they have to swing in at least 2 units to basically get rid of this, and when they do, it already heals anyway, so it's pretty strong. The fact that it can just stay on the field for so long, it requires really heavy commitment to get rid of it. Like in one of the test matches when I was playing the wing deck against it, I had to slap down 2 wing zeros just to clear the board because he had this and a freedom. I managed to kill both with that because they were both already heavily damaged. But because I wasn't triggering an attack or my action step, it couldn't heal. So I basically chipped it for 6 damage by the second turn when I played the second one. So because of that, I managed to basically wipe it. But that's in a very specific situation. But yeah, you have to run 4 of this card. As you can see, I don't have any. I don't have exactly 4 copies. I only have 2. So until I get the other 2 copies, these will be proxied. But this card is just really insane. Then we skip to level 5, which is specifically we're running the Unicorn engine, which is 3 Unicorn Gundam Unicorn modes. This card is just busted. The fact that it's like during Link and Destroy, you get the pilot back is really strong. But also the pilot, Menager, he basically gets you a draw 1 by just linking him, which is really cool. And the fact that he's already pretty big, he's a 4-3, so with the boost, he usually goes up to a 5-4, so he's pretty chunky. So, gotta run at least 3 copies. I've seen some builds running 2 or even less than that, like 1. I would not recommend that. I recommend 3 so that you can at least see it consistently every game. Then speaking of Unicorn, we skip to level 7. We skip into the Destroy mode, which is really crazy. This card is just bonkers. The fact that it gets to rest something means you can swing, rest something, and have your other unit take it out. But at the same time, this also lets its effect is really busted because you can just pop this. Like you can swing this into the base, destroy the base, destroy this, get the pilot back, discard a card. Then by destroying it with the effect of this, you get to play it for 0 cost, and you get to basically get the pilot back, and then equip it and draw another card. So you're basically basically going even on cards at that point. So really strong, This engine is really powerful, so you have to run at least 3 of each. Then the other level 7 we run, of course, is 2 Freedom Gundams. 2 Freedom. I know that this card has just recently gone up in price. It's only like what? It just went up to 35 recently. It was at like 20 to 30-ish, but then it jumped recently because of all the dex topping. This card, surprisingly, I do not run any. Specifically, my friend did not run any Kiras. As I mentioned, as you see from the title, we're running Academy, so he's focusing specifically on the Academy pilots. So he specifically usually tucks like either Soulette or the other pilot. I don't know his name because I'm not super familiar with which. I've only watched like 1 or 2 episodes so far. So, but basically those pilots actually give a way better boost than Kira, because Kira only gives +1 to his health, but with Soulette, this is going up to an 8 in defense, and that is really hard to get over. Not even Sinaju can get over this with its boost. The biggest it can get is 7. So this guy with Soulette is really busted. So you have to run that. And of course, when pairing, you get to just -2 stuff. And then with a Ferric on the field, you get to just -4, and it's not going to do any damage to you. So it's really crazy. But yeah, that's basically all the units we run. For pilots, we of course run the 4 Benager links. This guy's busted. His linking effect is super strong. The fact that he gets to draw 1. And of course, with this unicorn's effect, you can get it back. So really cool. And as you can see, +2/+2. So he's going to be a 6/5. So it's going to be really good. Then we run 4 Soulettes, as I keep mentioning. Soulette is just really good. The fact that you can just unrest a resource is just really strong, because it can also help us set up for our command card, which can potentially save your units from essentially even getting any damage. So gotta run 4 of her. And of course, as I mentioned, it's a +1/+2, so really strong. Then we run 3 Ellen Saris. My friend runs it at 4, but I had to make room, so it's like, so I only have 3, but the recommended is to run 4 because he's just so good equipping onto specific units. Because for those that don't know what he does, his effect is an activate action. So it activates during the action step, like when they're swinging in for attack. Once per turn. So both you and your opponent's turn, it can trigger at least once. If an enemy unit with 1 or less AP is in play, which usually does happen specifically in, especially against red-green, you're going to see units that are only like 1 cost. So because of that, this unit can recover 1 HP. So if you're playing against any deck that has anything low cost potentially, or if they're already damaged or whatever, or you minus their AP to 0 already, you basically get to recover regardless. So it's really strong. Like, you have to run this at least at 3 or 4 because it's just such a good pilot. Then that's basically all for the pilots. For commands, we run the 4 Overflowing Affection. Sorry for the glare. This card is still busted. The fact that you can just draw 2 and discard 1 is really strong. And of course, if you end up running Aerial Rebuild, you can actually recover this from the trash, so really cool. And as I mentioned before with Michaelis, you can actually boost it even higher if you end up using all 4 of these on your first like 2-3 turns, so pretty good. Then of course we run 4 of the Shadow or a Show of Resolve. This card is just busted. It's the Pot of Greed of the deck. Basically draw 2, so you're always netting 1 card advantage no matter what. So really strong card. The only downside is that's a little 4, so you have to wait, but still not too bad. Then for the last command card, we run the 4 Unforeseen Consequences. Honestly, this card is insanely powerful, and I honestly need to max this out because of the fact that it's just so strong. Like, this card scares me every time when I see my friend with only 1 resource, because I know potentially he has this in hand and I have to work around it, and it is not fun to do because usually that means I can't kill their unit and I can't basically force them to have to commit more onto their board. And the fact that this is also a burst effect is really strong. So really cool. Like, you have to run 4 of this. This card is super good. Then we go on to the bases. We run 3 of the... I literally cannot pronounce this name, so I'm just going to say it's the School of Technology. This card is really cool. The fact that it's already a 5 base, so it's pretty solid. By default, it's a good base. And then it has a main effect, which is really cool. You can rest this base, and it also doesn't cost anything, which is also crucial. All friendly link units get AP +1, so this potentially can boost your Ferret even higher, or even your Unicorn up high enough to basically knock out anything. Or with this, you can actually boost it a bit more, so it's actually pretty strong. It'll make it like into like a 6 or 7. But yeah, really strong. And then the last two cards of the deck is another base. It's the 13th Tactical Testing Sector. This one's really cool. This one is basically the opposite of this, but it affects your opponent. Specifically, you can rest this base for no cost. If a friendly academy unit is in play, which most of the time that's going to be happening, you can give an enemy unit -1. So potentially, if you're facing against anything that is like a AP2, you can minus it to 1, and then that will trigger his effect during the action step, so you can heal, so pretty cool. Um, but yeah, that's basically the deck. I watched this in action, and this deck actually was really crazy. I didn't get to see the first round where he won against the first red green Xeon deck. Um, Second round, I did get to see his match against he basically played against a standard blue white deck, which was really cool. It was like watching like a mirror match essentially, but because of the academy traits, he actually had a slight advantage. He actually managed to kind of like go for game regardless. He actually managed to make his opponent essentially like use up all his resources, and by that point, I think he still had like 3 or 4 cards. So he won that match barely, but it was really close. It was a really good match from what I saw. Then the third round was again against Red Green Xeon again, and it was pretty. From what I heard from both players, the Red Green player basically he just did not see pilots. And he ran out of gas, even though he had a Sinaju and I think like a Zaku and I think maybe a Sharzaku or a Jelgug. It was one of those units. But he had 3 on board, but because of how chunky the Freedom Gundam was and the fact that he had a Unicorn on field, and at that time when I was watching, he had just played a Show of Resolve, so he managed to draw into the Unicorn Destroy mode for next turn, and he still had Freedom and Ferric on the board, and it was healing too, so it was really hard to essentially like get rid of that board. So and not only that is that at that time, the person who was playing red green, he was only at 1 card, so it made it so that he had to top deck something to remove his board. If he didn't, it would have been game, and it was. So because of that, he won first place because of just how close that match was. Um, but yeah, no, the matchups for this are really crazy. This matchup also, this deck actually also has a pretty good matchup against Meteor, because I actually played against this deck a few times using my Meteor control, and it's really close because um, if you don't basically like the only reason honestly, I'm going to say this really honestly, the only reason I even won our test match after the tournament was because of one slight miscalculation, which honestly was on both our parts, because I should have said like, hey, this guy is pretty chunky, he's 7, so if you swing into him, I'm still going to be at 1. Like, I didn't say that, and he didn't notice it either, so it was basically both our mistake in a way, because we've just basically did math correctly, and because of that I took the game. But if he didn't, he would have been able to swing into my shield, hit a base, knock that out with the second unit, and then swing for game, because I had no more shields at that point. I had nothing to protect me, so he would have had game regardless because of that. But as I said, it's only our first locals, so we're all, just learning our decks, so it's all good. Like, but the fact that this deck did so well, that's why I had to get the deck list and show you guys, because it's just really good. Like, this deck has the potential to be really cool. And the thing is that originally, we weren't really sure if this was a good idea to go into. Originally, we were thinking of just going into the normal, blue white, like, with Strike and the all the seed stuff, basically, with Kira and all that. But honestly, I think this is really strong too, because of the fact that you can heal this unit like consistently, and the fact that it triggers on both turns that it can heal is really strong. And it's still basically using the same like engine or skeleton, but I feel like the bases are actually a little bit stronger. So I actually really like them. They're actually better than just running like Corsica base or Archangel, because Archangel requires a cost, and then same with Corsica base, it requires it to be your turn to trigger its effect, which really sucks, because then you don't get your token to do more extra damage unless it's your turn. So I actually like these more because they don't cost anything, and they also do good stuff for you. But yeah, um, yeah, I just wanted to show off the deck. This deck is really crazy. As I said, my friend won first place with this, and shout out to him for giving me the deck list. Like, really cool of you, man, and also for discussing with me like why like certain techs like having four of this or having just two of this instead of maxing out on Zoword and all that crazy stuff. I really appreciate it. But yeah, as usual, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of this deck, and yeah, as per usual, I'll see you guys next time.